Welcome to On the Record. This is our first ever episode, and we are here inviting people all around the world, experts in their fields and regular everyday people who have questions about the blind spot and what it is that we discovered and anything they want to ask us about lip products. And today we have a very special guest. This is Holly Rebecca, better known to the public as the Detox Darling. I love that name because you really are darling. Last year, I reached out to you when I was in the middle of the Lip Service Alliance research and the papers and getting my experts together. And I thought, I would love to have someone who's really articulate and warm and who could represent the Lip Service Alliance in getting the word out about what's the blind spot, what's in lip products, and the usage rates that we have today, and what are we actually eating. And I saw your channel or your page on Instagram, and I was just drawn to you, and I thought, I'm gonna reach out and see if she'll reply. And she replied. She replied, and then it was like pretty impromptu. I think I booked a session for you because you do detoxes, don't you?
Yeah, and that was just as I was assuming.
Well, the thing is, I went through cancer treatment 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I had triple negative breast cancer, and I went through chemo, and I went on a health journey after that. And so I was interested in your detox. But I was also interested in seeing if you wanted to help with the Lip Service Alliance and getting the word out. Life happens and the podcasts happen. And then I see you clipping and stitching the interview with Alex Clark on Culture Apothecary.
Yes, it caught my eye immediately.
Alex Clark, yeah.
I love her stuff. She's great. And there's so many little clips that I've reposted of hers. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, well, that's for my audience. This is what I want to put out there and I want to spread awareness for. So it was great.
And your audience specifically is interested in detoxing?
Yeah. And just awareness of what we are consuming, what we are using, and the impact that that could have on our health, and just being a little bit more conscious.
And I just want you to know you can ask me anything.
Awesome.
Anything that you think your audience would be interested, your followers would be interested in knowing.
Yeah.
And let's just have like a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Well, when I reposted that clip of when you went on that podcast, it got a lot of conversation going underneath the post. And that always says to me that this is a point of interest for a lot of people to understand, because I think when it comes to skincare, we've seen a lot over the last few years, which still people are learning about and, coming into contact with, about how our skin absorbs things and it goes into our bloodstream. But I don't think people are thinking about what they're putting on their lips, because we are swallowing what we're putting on our lips.
Yeah.
And it isn't even something that I have thought much about or considered.
That's why we call it the blind spot.
Yeah,
because
and it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
You just think, especially a lot of it's flavored like food, or it smells very foody, and so you just assume it's safe to ingest.
Yeah.
But the blind spot that I uncovered, from a regulatory standpoint, is that because we class them as cosmetics, which means they're meant to stay on the outside of the body. That's how the ingredients are regulated. They assume outside of the body. So you can have things like silicone and dimethicone, which never break down outside of the body. But we're not. We're actually taking them in every time. We have a conversation. We're eating them. We're licking our lips subconsciously. We're taking sips of water. And we don't realize that we have to reapply. And today we're reapplying so much more frequently than we were 25 years ago when the old studies were there. Because you'll see in your comments, I'll die with my lip gloss in my hand. Because people don't know what they're eating, and they don't know how much.
People become very obsessed with their lip routine.
They call it the lipification of beauty.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a multi-billion-dollar category now. And we have categories in lip today that we never had 20 years ago. So lip masks didn't exist 20 years ago. That's why we started YOM with the lip mask, because it exploded as a category. Everybody now is making lip masks in their collections. And what people don't realize is that when you actually go into that, regardless of how it's flavored, whether it's perfume or actual flavor, the chassis of those formulas almost all of the times are made out of plastic. So you're eating plastic off your lips. That's just one of the ingredients that from a tox point of view you would want to know. So there's microplastics, and then there are just plasticizers, and then there are other ingredients in there that you don't.
But it doesn't say microplastics. It says all sorts of different names, because there's all sorts of different types. and categories of
Correct.
microplastic. So it's very hard to know what is what, because we're used to seeing on an ingredients list a load of names that we can't pronounce.
Absolutely.
So now it just goes over the head.
And you just assume who would put plastic on their lips
Yeah.
and flavor it like food. So that's why it's a blind spot. Now, everybody's going to have a lot of questions. What ingredients to look out for, what they don't want to live, how did we get here? What are the other types of ingredients that we would want to avoid aside from the plastics? I mean, 8 to 9 out of 10 beauty products are made with plastic. And you touched upon something too, which I think is really important, because a lot of your audience, correct me if I'm wrong, is in the EU or the UK?
Yeah, EU and US.
Okay.
Majority US, actually.
So even in the EU, I did touch upon this in the podcast, the EU has REACH, and REACH has put into place legislation that over time phases out microplastics in beauty. Do you remember microbeads in body wash?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So they
That was
banned
a real
microbeads,
thing.
one of the first things that they banned, and yet you look at lip products, the next big event in this legislation for lip, or the first big event, is 2031, where they say you have to put a warning on your product box of lip products to say, this contains microplastics.
Yeah.
But that's 2031. Last I checked, we're still in 2026.
Yeah.
So why are we not aware of this as a consumer?
Yeah.
That's one. And they're not phasing out microplastics until 2035.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of years to be eating plastic off your lips. Anyway, so now I just want to open it up and ask me anything that you want.
So I think what most people believe is that if something is on a shelf,
Yeah.
it means it's automatically safe. So can you talk to me about how regulations work in the cosmetics industry?
Yes. So cosmetics work differently than food, which works differently than pharma. So there are 3 different, I would say, levels of restrictions. And every framework in the world is different. So if you're in the US, it tends to be very different. Canada is very similar to the US, for example, Australia. But once you start going into Europe, the restrictions tend to be higher.
Yeah.
It's a higher bar to clear. So what you would have to test before going to market is definitely different in different countries. However, that said, there is no pre-market assessment, for example, in the US. So if you want to put a cosmetic on the market, that product doesn't get tested. The blind spot that we're talking about is very specific when it comes to lip, no matter where you are in the world. And this is the most important thing to remember. If you class a lip product as a topical product, and that means it's staying on the outside,
Yeah.
right? So like a mascara or like a hair gel or like a foot cream, if you're gonna class that lip product in the same way, then everything from there is looked at in terms of safety
Yeah.
as if it's going to stay on the outside of the body.
Yeah.
That's the blind spot.
Yeah.
Because if you actually look at the way we're using lip products, you're eating them all throughout the day. I mean, they're so delicious now that people are doing taste tests on TikTok.
That's wild.
They're putting in there, they're squeezing it because it tastes so good. You're doing food collaborations. If there was Dunkin' Donuts, there was Krispy Kreme. They're aligned with food.
Yeah.
So the consumer is going to look at that and go, it's safe to eat. It's totally natural to think of that, right?
Yeah.
That's a natural conclusion. So in Europe, we definitely have more, I would say, there are appendixes to the law where they say, let's just assume that you do ingest accidentally some of your lip product. And let's look at the toxicity of that and predetermine whether or not that ingredient should be allowed. There's a problem with that.
Go on.
Right now, the way we're using lip products, we are applying them far more than 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And we're globbing on lip masks, which is a lot more than that minimal assumption of what we're putting on. So the EU was basing all of this on a study that was in the early 2000s. And it assumes that you put your lipstick or your lip balm, just lipstick or lip balm. So imagine the thinness of that, yes, versus like a lip gloss, which you're globbing on for shine. And you apply it twice a day.
Yeah.
You apply lip balm or lipstick twice a day. Very minimal exposure. And this is important for heavy metals as well, which I know is really important to your audience,
Yes,
right?
yes.
They're concerned about heavy metal
Yeah.
detoxing. So when you saw in the news in the early 2000s, oh my God, lipstick has lead in it. It's usually carried from the synthetic color or the mineral pigments in these products. It's hard to avoid just because of how they're made.
Yeah.
But the reason why they're still allowed, the reason why it's not, no one went crazy about that after the news broke is because they said, well, you're just putting it on twice a day.
Yeah.
So how much is actually going in? So they minimized it from that usage assumption from an old study.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So if you're now reapplying a product over and over and over and over, and it has a lake dye in it, yeah, that's a lot more exposure than what you're assuming based on the cosmetic regulation that says it's only 0.05 grams a day, and at that level, it's considered safe.
Yeah.
So if you're using lip products in the way that the EU is saying you're using it, that's where safety has the guardrails.
Yeah.
Once you go outside that usage level, how much heavy metal are you going in? I don't know. I mean, I spoke to a mom and I said, can I talk to your daughter? It's like an 11-year-old. I said, how much lip gloss are you wearing a day? How many times do you apply that? And I won't name names, but like how many times? She had 74 tubes in her collection.
Oh my God, what?
That's normal. That's normal. If I thought that was abnormal.
An 11-year-old?
11-year-old.
That's insane.
They go out and they collect them.
Yeah.
And they love the flavors and the colors.
Yeah,
and it's like,
of course. Well, that's really aimed towards children. So when you're talking about the Dunkin' Donuts, I mean, that's not an adult flavor, is it? It's a dessert. It's something that kids would want.
Yeah. So I think because of the snazzy colors mixed with the snazzy packaging, especially when you look at this, K Beauty, make it look like a peach, make it look like make it look like a fruit.
Yeah.
And then you look at the flavor and the smell, which a lot of the times is perfume. So you talk about detoxing. Ingestion is just one part of this, right? The other part of this that we clocked with my team of researchers, and we did these 2 papers and we've quantified everything, is exposure to the oral mucosa. And what does that mean? Beauty assumes, so like when you want to go and test a product to see if it's sensitizing your skin, the model that they use is regular skin. Now, regular skin has a fantastic barrier. It's still a sponge and it still absorbs, but it's got 15 to 20 cells deep.
Yeah.
It's got hair. It's got sebaceous or oil glands. It's designed to try and keep things out.
Yeah.
Your mouth, on the other hand, is designed to be like a sponge.
Yeah.
It is very sensorial.
Very vascular.
Very vascular. So I always say, do you know why your lips are a different color to the rest of your face?
Yeah, go on.
Because your skin, your lip vermilion is so thin.
So thin.
That's your blood vessel peeping through, saying hello.
Yeah.
So your blood vessels are saying hello, you can see them, but yet we're treating that skin, and especially as it, it kind of gets wet halfway through, that's where it starts to become more like the inside of your mouth than the rest of your face. And the blind spot is that the beauty industry does not test on that type of skin. And I'm not talking about animal testing. I'm just saying Petri dishes, they use a model called EpiSkin, and they say, how fast does this travel? Is the molecule big enough to go into the body? In the EU, is the model big, and is that ingredient big enough to go through the skin? Well, if you're using this kind of skin, your results are going to be very different than if you're using this type of skin as a model. And that's the nuance of the blind spot as well. So this gets really complicated. It's hard to tell people what to be careful of, but that's the issue, especially when you're talking about things going into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Is that oral mucosa, that lip vermilion.
So much more easily absorbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So safety, the short answer to your question, is how lip products have evolved today and how many times we use them. Even the most strict regulations in the world are not accounting for that gap.
Yeah.
And in the US, there's no pre-market safety assessment.
Yeah. Zero. Yeah, that's terrible.
Except for synthetic dyes, which you have to pre-approve as a manufacturer. If I'm making synthetic dyes, I have to register those with the FDA because of heavy metal loads. For example, those would be screened. But because they're topicals, you can have higher levels of heavy metal contamination than in food.
Because they're assuming it's not going into
Correct.
our bodies. Yeah, yeah. That
So
makes sense.
now times X, how many times you put something on a day that has a synthetic dye or a lake or something that has contamination, which if it's just twice a day, it's assumed to be okay because it's trace levels. then you start increasing that and you see where heavy metals could be coming from.
Wild.
Yeah.
Because when I think about lip products and where this sudden boom came, automatically I think of Kylie Cosmetics. That's what comes to mind.
Well, do you remember when this was years and years and years ago, she sort of
Had her lips done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that transformation made people go, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And then everyone wanted to buy it because,
Yeah.
of course, it's Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
And everyone was then wanting to get every single colour lip kit,
Yeah.
which there are, am I right in thinking that there are 2 products in there already? Is it a pencil,
Yeah.
a lip liner and
Usually
a
it's
gloss?
coupled, yeah.
Yeah. And now I think I've seen her recently showing her lip routine, and there are 5 products that she uses.
So did you know 40% of American women are layering 5 products now?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I
So-
don't even know what are they, firstly? What
okay, so
products
like,
are they?
if you did a scrub or you tried to exfoliate or you did some
Okay.
sort of,
So prep.
so you prep.
Okay.
Then you could stain, so
Yeah.
you have a longer wear of whatever's on there. And by the way, if you're talking about some of these 72-hour stains, has that been tested on lip vermilion and oral mucosa that is sitting there for 72 hours? What's going in? That's a blind spot. So stain, you could have liquid lipstick or a matte lipstick, something that layers another color, gloss or plumper, and a pencil. And that's 5.
And all of these products are known to have plastics, metals, toxins,
Yeah,
every single one.
80 to 90% of all lip products are made with plastic ingredients. So even if you wanted to nitpick of what is a microplastic, because even in legislation, it has to follow a certain definition to be classed as a microplastic. The question is, do you want plastic full stop on your lip? Even if it passes through your butt, like we don't know,
Yeah.
the data is not there.
Yeah.
You got to also look at whether or not, it's not just whether or not you have it once, is it going to kill you? People go, oh, my lip product's not going to kill me. No, I'm talking about chronic, daily, multiple exposure over and over and over and over. And by the way, now we're putting it on before bed as a sleeping mask.
Yeah.
Nobody is testing for that level of exposure over and over and over. So chronic ingestion.
And it's just another source of accumulation,
Yeah.
which over time, it just adds up and up and up
Do you
and
want
up.
to talk about something that this is something that really got me, and this might be interesting for your audience.
Yeah, go for it.
because we looked at mineral oil and petrolatum. So we talked about this with Alex Clark on our podcast. It's documented in the EU. It's documented, it's acknowledged that petrolatum and mineral oil bioaccumulate in the body when ingested. So how many times do you go to a dermatologist and you're like, I've got really dry chapped lips, and they say, oh, you need an occlusive agent. You need to use something that's gonna seal your lip shut. Use petrolatum jelly. Well, you eat that and it's documented, it's scientifically proven, it bioaccumulates in your spleen, in your blood. Like, but we're eating it off of our lips all day long. And now some of those big companies that supply that petrolatum jelly have seen the trends of flavoring things like food. Now you can get it in cherry flavored. Now you can get it in rose flavor. You can get it and nobody's putting 2 and 2 together because they're all following the law.
Yeah.
No one's breaking the law. This is just about consumers saying, does that make sense based on what I'm doing and how much I'm eating? And then you make it taste so good. And you've got, that happening all day long subconsciously.
And when people's habits change, as they have done over the years with the way that people, because 20 years ago, people weren't using lip products like this. They just weren't.
Way.
There was probably like a lip gloss in somebody's bag and they might reapply.
I remember maybe Dior having that really fabulous, like
I remember
full
that
of
one.
crystallization,
Yeah.
like mica, and it was so shiny.
Yeah.
I remember that being a thing.
Yeah.
But lip masks?
Wasn't
lip
a thing.
stains?
No.
Lip oils? Lip
No.
oils in the last 5 years
No,
have
no,
just,
And lip plumpers as well.
lip plumpers and lip oils.
Yeah.
Not, look at the ingredients, flip over your lip oil. The first ingredient, the second ingredient, you're looking at hydrogenated polyisobutane, polybutane, copolymers. you think a lip oil is an oil, and the first 2-3 ingredients sometimes are plastic.
Yeah.
And people are not realizing this. Whether or not it's flavored like food, I don't know anybody who would want to be eating that.
Yeah, no, nobody would do that by choice. So you said a few names there. What would be the typical list that are most prominently used in most of the products that people are buying, which mostly are high street products?
You're going to love this.
Go on.
You're going to love this. This is the one that got me. This is the one that really got me. Polybutene is liquid plastic, okay? It's like very tar-like. I wish I had some here just to show you how sticky it is. And it's the same ingredient that they use in rodent traps and fly traps to stick the animal.
Oh my
to
goodness.
That's what polybutene is.
Yeah, like a glue.
It's a glue. It's a tack. It's a sticky tack. Okay. If it's a cosmetic meant to stay on the outside of the body, which the regulation is looking at that going, okay, or if you're taking in very little amounts, but if you're putting on your lip oil or your lip mask or how many times a day are you doing that? Who has studied the ingestion safety of polybutene? Now we know gum, when you say don't chew on plastic gum, right? We know this is a thing now. We have plastic-free gums now. Those in the marketplace tend to rely on polybutene for its chew and its tack and it's long lasting. And you're like, wait a second, that's in my mouth, but you don't swallow it. So it's not looked at in the same way of it's going into your gut and what happens. It's being chewed and it's being spit out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like titanium dioxide in toothpaste.
Yeah.
You're not assuming it's going in, you just spit it out,
Yeah.
right? So even in the EU, they banned titanium dioxide. And it's been really hard to find people. That's why when I found you, I got so excited because you were like, yeah, I'll talk about this. Yeah, I really want. That meant
When
a lot
it's
to me.
important, nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
I think, conversations that are hard to have or most people won't have, I think are the most important to make sure that you do.
Yeah. I agree.
Because otherwise we're just hiding information and people won't know.
So I'm really grateful that you picked up and wanted to come because I'm like, ask me anything. I know that I've been like blabbing on because there's so much to talk about, but is there anything that you think your audience would want to know?
Okay, so going back to the regulators and how they do things, because really that's who it comes down to, that's who's putting things on the shelves. When they set limits for certain contaminants, are those limits based on what is okay for people's health, or is it what is achievable through manufacturing?
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because they try to do the first, and then they have to accept the second.
Yeah.
Because of the realities. So for example, if you take mineral pigments, sometimes you see mineral pigments, it's great. It's like it comes from a mineral, it's gotta be okay. It's coming from the earth. It will have heavy metal contaminants, right?
Because it's natural, they are natural heavy metals,
Exactly. So
the point is that they're not putting them in,
No,
they're just
no.
not cleaning them out.
No, it's just a part of that process of making that ingredient. So whether it's a synthetic dye, and it's attached to that synthetic dye through the process of making it, or it's coming from the earth and it's a mineral, it's gonna have a heavy metal contamination to it. Some will be better than others, but in the EU, when they say if it's unavoidable and we think it's safe levels, then it's okay. What I'm saying is, how do you define what's safe? Because there's a very famous phrase that says the dose is the poison, right?
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, this is true, absolutely. You can kill yourself with drinking too much water all at once, right? So that's a true statement. But the problem with that in lip products is that the assumption of how much in the EU you are exposing yourself to is at least 22 times below what it was back in 2017, and we're using lip products way more. So what is safe? If the assumptions of how you're applying them, lipstick twice a day, I mean, I don't know any, I've spoken to toxicologists who said there's no safe level of lead. Zero safe level of lead. So this is why when we built YOM, we thought, how do we go about giving a consumer what they love about beauty and not go near anything that's not 100% food grade certified,
Yeah.
in addition to being cosmetic grade certified. So if, you know, by law, weirdly, this is the way it works in the US, you can't use food derived beetroot, for example, for its color in a cosmetic. You can use it for its antioxidant effect, but you can't say it's in there coloring it, because color is the only thing in the US that the FDA pre-market regulates.
And what does that mean?
Okay, so if I'm making a lip product or an eye shadow or whatever, and I say I need to use red lake dye, for example, that is the one area the FDA screens as an ingredient for safety before allowing a company to sell it to a manufacturer to use it. Okay?
Yeah.
So they will look at lead contamination, and is it below 10 ppm? Like there's a certain level that's allowed because it's a topical, right? In food, that's a different level because you're ingesting it. But in cosmetics, if it's below a certain amount, it's allowed. But you have to go to that FDA branch and say, I want to register my synthetic dye with you to get the permission to sell it to be used in cosmetics. Now, that's a process in place to protect consumers. So their heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
But now you've got these really innovative color companies that are making color from beets and turmeric, and the FDA allows it in food as colorant. But in cosmetic, you can't use that same ingredient because of this loophole.
Wow, that's really interesting.
So our products have an aura of color to them, but it's because we're using them as antioxidants.
Yeah.
We can't use them as color.
Yeah.
There's a little color payoff for sure.
Yeah.
But we have to, as part of what we're doing with the Lip Service Alliance, which is the nonprofit, is to go to the FDA and say, hey, we think this is a loophole and an opportunity for natural innovation in lip. Can you please grandfather in all these food colors that you're allowing that are from natural foods that are food grade certified? Can you grandfather those in for cosmetics? Because right now you can't use them for color. You can use them as an antioxidant, as a skin health claim or whatever, but not as a color.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. It's
So-
insane how deep it all goes.
It's deep. That's why being a lawyer really helped me to see this blind spot. So I'm used to the nuances and the wording of things that make it complicated for, you know, it's just, you're trained in law school to read like a lawyer, to understand things like a lawyer. So when you're looking at regulations, it becomes a little bit more obvious where a blind spot could be.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't blame anyone in the industry for not seeing this until now, but now it's like we got to look at all these nuances and clean them up as quickly as possible so you can have better lip products.
But that also really sets consumers up for failure because if you're able to read things in a different way because of your education and what you've done before being in law, but most people obviously haven't. So it's made even more difficult, like more barriers up in front of people from being able to understand. And sure, we have the internet, but realistically, it would be nice
that's why
to be able to read on a label and know what we're doing.
That's why they invented the word clean at the beauty retail level, because they wanted to help consumers shop.
But clean also doesn't really mean clean.
Correct. Well, what's
That's
weird,
immediately what came to mind.
what's weird is I know that there are lip products that retailers will say, this lip product is clean.
Yeah.
And it's got plasticizers in it.
Yeah. Well, I thought mine was clean just before we came in here.
Yeah.
And you looked straight away, you were like, a microplastic. So
It's a
they
copolymer.
just,
I don't know what the source of their copolymer is, but copolymer is a plastic. It might be a plant-based copolymer. You might want to reach out to them and find out more, because I can't imagine that formula having it from a petrolatum or an actual plastic. Sometimes you can get plant plastics, which
I was just about to say, so you can get natural plastics.
You can get plant-based polymers, which behave differently when they're decomposed, but there's so little research when you're ingesting them.
Yeah.
That's the problem with these things, is that that's again why I did the Lip Service Alliance. We have to close the gap with the research. It's not to say so for example, synthetic wax. that can be a plant-based thing. But it could also be a petrolatum derivative. So under a microscope, it might look exactly like a microplastic. We don't know how this stuff behaves inside the body because that doesn't exist. And you look at a lot of these natural vegan lip products, synthetic wax, microcrystalline wax, because they don't want to use natural beeswax. But who's doing the studying of what's happening when we're eating that stuff? That's another big area of opportunity to study.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a shame because I think there's a big worldwide wake up at the moment where people, again, I think it's thanks to social media. People going out there doing the research and sharing what they're finding. But there is a wake up going on because there are a lot more people going more towards wanting that clean product and, you know, filtering their water and, you know, looking for healthy food alternatives rather than buying processed stuff, which was kind of pushed for a long time. I never...
Convenience.
Convenience food. It was, you know, a while ago, especially whilst I was growing up, we lived on that crap. We genuinely did. And I was even told by my mum, who, you know, bless her, but she thought these things were healthy because they might have been potato-based, for example, you know?
Well, that's why, that's a good point, because with YOM, we didn't want to just say, well, it's food grade certified, so it's okay. We use EU standards when it comes to food grade certification, and we look at every ingredient. Like, I think we're the first, I want to say the first or one of the first companies to disclose what natural flavor is.
Thank God for that.
So I was with some, you know, like-minded people in DC recently, and they looked at it and they said, look, we understand that you want to protect your intellectual property of what is in your natural flavor, but you're going to get roasted if you don't disclose that. And I went, yeah, that actually makes sense. You know, if we're all about transparency, let's lead the way to say, here's the recipe or here's the ingredients that make up our natural flavor so you can see exactly what's in it. Because we painstakingly made sure that we didn't use things that were petrol derived or, you know, solvents that were questionable or any of that. So we picked that apart, and I have two amazing flavorists and flavor experts who combined our over 70 years of experience. And they looked at me and they went, you're crazy, like this is safe in the EU. And I went, that's not good enough. We need to make sure that we go as deep as possible to say, would anybody want to pick this apart and say, I don't want that in my body? So even food grade certified, you have to be careful, because you're right. You can get ultra processed foods, you can get things that you might not want to have in those foods. In the US, titanium dioxide is still allowed in food.
That's crazy.
Right? So, well, it's crazy, but it's still allowed in lip products here in Europe.
There should be no differences in what is, you know, safety limits. There should be no differences around the world. That's just a crazy thing to me.
Well, this is...
They should go off the science and everybody follows suit.
So this is why I formed the nonprofit, the Lip Service Alliance, because regulations are good, and I do believe that regulations are needed. But if everyone in the industry hears the cry of the consumer to say, you need to do better, then we could self-regulate. We could say, actually, for lip, let's start closing the data gap. And until then, maybe we don't flavor liquid plastic type lip products like food. Maybe that's something that's going a little too far, you know? And we can create those guardrails while we figure this out and figure out better ways to do it. So regulations are great, but if the industry agrees to come together, work together, we help each other. You know, that's why I created YOM. YOM was a proof of concept so that I could go to the Lip Service Alliance and say, hey, look, we can do it. We don't need plastics in lip masks. This is great. World's first microplastic-free lip mask. So,
and what do you think stops other companies from wanting to achieve what you are doing?
It's a good question. I would say one is, you know, like a path well traveled is usually what people tend to just continue walking on. So I think one is
don't fix what isn't broken, like, kind of thing.
So one.
And they're all making a ton of money. So I'm sure they're quite happy doing things that they're doing.
One, a lot of the people that are doing this are small founder brands where they just don't know. They just don't see the blind spot. So that's one. Two is if they see it and they think, They assume ingestion is very, very, very low. So what's the big deal? You want the performance. People want the product to perform. That's why when our lip mask came back and the performance was so sky high, we said we did that without the plastics. We did that without these things. We did it with only food grade certified ingredients. So you have to make a lip product perform or somebody's not going to buy it. It's like health food.
Sure.
If a healthy food doesn't taste good, it can be as healthy as you want. People are not going to want to buy it. They don't. They're driven by taste and sensory experience and performance when it comes to product. So if I know my lips are way softer after using 100% certified food grade ingredients, I would say that a consumer will take that over a plastic based formula.
Yeah.
So I do think performance blocks people even if they see the blind spot. And then there's cost. It is not cheap right now because I am on a new path doing something that's really innovative. Finding an ingredient that has both cosmetic grade certification for skin, which is, it's a lip product, it has to. Then you have to also make sure it has a food grade certification. Do you know how hard it was to find mango seed butter that had both of those certifications? I had to scour the planet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So it's not easy, but I do think with innovation, with anything, the more people say, oh, I like this, I want more, and people are going to be clamoring about it, you will see ingredient companies doing more to make those ingredients so it's easier to formulate.
Yeah.
So hopefully...
Well, because you'll become, and already are, a competitor. And people like to compete, you know. Well,
it's a good thing. I welcome the competition.
Survive. But also, you know, if we want things that we've never had, we've got to do things that we've never done.
Yeah.
Especially in this industry where it is, I mean, how much do women spend on cosmetics per year? Let's say US, EU, give me some stats on what you...
Do you know what? I actually don't know what the average spend is, but I do know that they say that beauty is recession proof.
Yeah.
Why? Because the payoff, the emotional payoff and the physical payoff that people got from buying beauty makes them feel infinitely better.
Yeah. And it's instant reward.
It's an instant thing. And
dopamine hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so even if you only have so much, you know, extra income, that product makes you feel so much better. It's worth the spend for you.
Yeah.
It's an emotional purchase. And this is something, it's so interesting, like, I'm sure this will be of interest to you, but, or maybe your audience. We have a saying at YOM, which is, when it comes to lips and when it comes to life, only let in what loves you back. We all love our lip products. We all love our product. We love how they make us feel.
Yeah.
But is it reciprocal?
Yeah, yeah. It's like a toxic partner.
Bingo. Yeah. Bingo. We let toxic people into our lives in certain parts of our journey, and then we learn that no matter what our intentions are of loving something and loving, we have to make sure that that thing loves us back. And that's our philosophy at YOM. For everything.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's also something that can overwhelm a lot of people when they start looking into the information. There's a saying that I really like, which I fully agree with. It's that the more I learn, the less I know. And that's really how things feel.
My grandmother used to say, the more you go to school, the stupider you get.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
She said it in Italian, and she was 96, bless her. But I do think, you get overwhelmed. There's also such a thing, I think.
To the point where it's you become paralyzed. Analysis paralysis. There's too much. There's too much out there.
So there's analysis paralysis, and then I think there's something that I call fear-mongering fatigue.
Yeah,
everything's going to kill me. I don't care. Just give me my lip product.
Yeah,
I don't care.
And it's a real hard line to walk, or balance that you have to find with that. Because I often get told on my page, like, oh, you're fear-mongering, you're fear-mongering. Never my intention, but we can't be scared of reality. We have to fight that fear. And it obviously has to be about things that are worth understanding and knowing, because these toxins, these metals, these contaminants, they are harming us. Absolutely. We're seeing such a huge rise, an incredible rise in chronic illness, women specifically with hormone issues,
autoimmune.
Men with low testosterone, exactly. And we've got to think, well, this is not genetic. Genetics don't change that quickly.
Environmental.
It's environmental. But there are things that we can't control. So we have to control the controllable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in your
what
audience,
next?
so in your audience, what is the motivating factor to detox? Is it fear of cancer? Is it autoimmune? Is it psoriasis, skin condition? What usually gets people to go, please help?
Well, because I'm always more interested in what can I teach somebody, rather than just, and I probably should talk about my story more, but I think there are so many people out there that are struggling with symptoms that they're told are normal, and that's just part of life,
And
or
that
whatever.
you can medicate.
Yeah, or just take these meds forever and then you'll be fine, and it's not the case. Our bodies were designed to heal, and everyone's body is different, but when you find and address the root cause of where your symptoms and issues were coming from, and it's got to be a multi-pronged approach, always. You can't sit in a dark room all day and expect to be a happy person. That's not,
That's one of the things after I came out of chemotherapy, and I was in ICU for a really long time, and I just couldn't walk, I couldn't breathe, it was really bad.
How long ago was this?
So the reason why this is so important is when we talk about how we got here and how we qualified and quantified this blind spot. I felt very early on that we had to have peer review publications to connect all these dots in one paper or two papers, one on regulation, one on biology, lip biology. And that's what we did for that very reason.
That's
because if it's not peer reviewed, and peer review, for those people who don't know, it's when you give, especially it depends on what journal you go to. Some journals are very high impact journals, they're very well respected. We took our two papers to a high impact journal. I say we, teams of people that wrote these papers with me. And those peers will take every single little claim in your paper. And if it's a lab one, it's done in a different way. Then you have to look at how those tests were done. But if it's a review paper like we did, we took all the existing data and then we pieced it together and went, oh wow, it's a blind spot. That peer has to look at that paper and go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and you will not get published if it's not entirely accurate. And that's why when you're saying, I have peer-reviewed citations, I know what that means. That means like it is qualified science. It has been backed by, and now there are sometimes papers that are funded by, and you have to be careful about that. But generally speaking, the journal watches out for that. If it's a very high quality journal.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that also the majority of people won't read a study.
No.
But just being
I do
able
cheat
to
sheets.
hear.
I have cheat sheets on my studies because I know that it's intense. It's deep.
But most people just want to hear, and they've heard the words peer reviewed, and that lends credibility to the things that you're talking about. And I often reference studies in my content that I put out there because I think it's important to show proof. I think, there's a lot of people out there just saying stuff
I
these
love
days.
your posts where you have like reams of worms.
Oh yeah.
That are just like, because see, it's weird. Like people want to see the proof. Show me the proof.
Yeah.
So if you have an 18-inch long worm that's come out of your back end, people are like, is that real? Like, is it AI? Now there's AI and everything.
Especially when they know it came out of a kid.
Right? So tell me about heavy metals, because this does concern lip products quite a lot.
Yeah.
Synthetic dyes, we talk about mineral pigments that are contaminated. What happens when you have too much heavy metal in you? What are the symptoms?
Well, there's a lot of different symptoms that can come from that because a lot of these metals are also neurotoxins. So they are messing with your own neurotransmitters and the way that your brain works. And I personally think that a lot of today's ADHD and autism, it's autism for one. I mean, that's just, spiking massively. There
are people who've reversed autism after heavy metal detoxing?
So my theory is, because this is the only way that it's the only way that sounds right to me, is that autism is rare and heavy metal toxicity mimics the symptoms of autism. And children are far more susceptible. Firstly, there was a study done, I can't remember when, on cord blood. And there was over, I think it was 167, I think I'm right on that number, different chemicals found in cord blood of a baby. Now, a baby, I don't think I really need to say anything on that one. A baby's body is developing. It has underdeveloped and immature detoxification organs like the liver and the kidneys, a permeable blood-brain barrier. And is it any surprise that those toxins get in there and stay in there? Because they don't stay in the bloodstream.
And they're finding microplastics in there too, which is why I say, like, if you're a female and you're putting this lip products on your lips, what's important about microplastics? They just don't leave the body. And if you're pregnant, they're finding it in umbilical cords, right?
It's just insane.
So now, add on top of that the heavy metal exposure through the synthetic dyes, and what is that doing to the fetus?
I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it? So we can't be surprised that we have the highest rates of childhood chronic illness.
Do you want to know anything about YOM? Do you want to know anything about...
So talk to me more about YOM and what is to be expected for people that are interested.
Yeah, we are getting frequently asked questions now, and one of them is, like, what's a lip mask? Why did you start with lip masks? What's the packaging made of? Because even the packaging it's food safe. So we've got these amazing...
And it's just these three?
Yeah, right now, this is what we launched with. So that's wild jujuberry. This is Persian love cake.
This one's really pretty.
And that is,
They smell really good as well.
Well, that's just... There's no perfume in it. A lot of the times you have lip products, they have perfume in them. But the feat in this was we went to Finland to find this material. It is something that when it biodegrades, there's no microplastic pollution. So it's made from plant and clay. And it's stunning. And even the inside of the lid, the seal, which is usually PE, it's usually plastic, that is the same material. So this is the first time it's been done. And we made it look really like pleasant to hold, really cute, so you didn't feel like you were missing out on anything. But that's food grade glass. And we feel it comes with a little spatula made of the same material. And then the inside is, we call it lip safe. And it's the word that we trademarked because we wanted to create an airtight definition after what happened with clean, where there's no regulatory definition of clean. How do we do this so that people know what they're getting when they buy this lip product? So that there are three things that lip safe means. One, of course, it's a lip product, so cosmetic grade for skin. But because you're accidentally ingesting it all day and it's on your mouth. So the second is food grade certified. So every single ingredient has to be cosmetic grade certified for skin, food grade certified for the accidental journey in. And then the third requirement is that it's independently certified microplastic free. So don't just take our word for it. Food grade certification is a regulatory standard for food. We just didn't have to do that, but we did it. And the independent certification for microplastic free was so that people knew it wasn't just something we were saying. A third-party lab has to test that. So instead of saying this product is clean, what does that mean? When you say it's lip safe, you know exactly what it is. Cosmetic grade, food grade ingredients that are certified, not food derived, because when you get like an olive oil, it could be food, but it's food, like different levels of cosmetic versus food derived, coconut oil, what's it processed with? Food grade is a different purity standard. And then microplastic free. And now I think that's as good as we're going to get for now.
I love what you're doing.
With this.
I love it.
So it's
and are there more products to come?
Yes, that's another.
Pipeline?
Yes, that's another thing that everybody asks. So lip masks right now, because of the popularity that I saw, lip masks with young girls. So you're getting lip masks. The market.
There's a market for that.
Yeah, the market for young girls age 9 to 17 is exploding in the lip category. And a big product that they absolutely love is lip masks. And I think part of that is because it's not heavily pigmented. So moms are like, yeah, pick a lip mask, it's fine, because it doesn't look like they're having like really dark color at 11, 12, 13 years old. Lip masks are pretty, but a lot of those formulas are plastic based. So I saw that and I thought, if I had to prove that we can do this without plastic, if we had to prove we could do this 100% food grade, what's the category I want to go after? It wasn't like, let's go after lip glosses. No, lip masks need an alternative.
Yeah.
We need something. So we started with the 3 flavors. We'll keep switching flavors out and doing fun stuff. We have some talks going on right now. I'm super excited. And then the second, I just did a post where I did a poll at the bottom. So if anybody wants to go and vote, you can just go on this post. It's me in an orange dress, and I said, what do you want next?
I'll share that on my
Thank
page.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking at like, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we're looking at like, do you want a lip gloss? Do you want a lipstick?
Yeah.
Do you want a lip oil?
Get an idea.
Do you want a lip stain?
Yeah.
Because these are all in development, but we are a small company and we are working as fast as we can, because it's not just about the formula and making sure we can achieve the performance, which we have clearly done given the trials that have just come back, but it's all about the packaging as well.
Yeah.
So nobody really knows, I mean, it's not, I think it might be on our website, but why we called it YOM.
Yeah, what is the story behind that?
So
Because it kind of makes sense. Like,
yeah,
yum.
yum.
Yeah.
Like when I say I love something and I love it, it's like another level. So when I was like, it's so yum, it's yum.
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of like that. But then the real meaning, and I know you'll get this, I can't say this to everybody because they think I'm crazy, but the word is a meditation word that's very old.
Yeah.
And it goes back to saying that's the sound of the universe.
Yeah.
And when you meditate and you say
Yeah.
it's to connect you instantly to the outside and inside worlds. Like there's, you know, this is an illusion that you are separate to everything. And so if you formulate, if you make products, if you make packaging, knowing that that's just an illusion, you're gonna have a different standard to what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make packaging that lasts the next 400 years, are you? If you think I'm at one with everything, right? So our why is because of
I love that.
the outside, inside.
I really
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So that's where it comes from. So and it's cute. I think it's cute. I love
really
holding
cute.
it.
It's really cute. It's really attractive packaging. Like, you know, visually, it's something that I would pick up.
It's pleasant.
The shelf.
And the
even
thing
if
is,
I didn't know what it was, I would pick it up and I'd be like, oh, what is this thing?
if you hold it in your hand, we actually shaped that to be quite organic, an extension of it being in the palm of your hand, like an Irish wishing stone.
Yeah. All
So
right.
the Irish wishing stone, when you put it in your hand and you make a wish. So we wanted it to be very.
There's so much thought that's gone into
Yeah,
this.
it's layered.
Yeah.
The people on my team are just like, we can't have any more messaging in this. Stop. So
I love that.
on that note, this was amazing.
Really good fun.
And I really feel like
This has been a great conversation. I've really
So
enjoyed
good,
it.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And I've learned so much about why you're doing what you're doing and how this all came about. And it's surprising that it hasn't been done yet.
Well,
now
this is
understanding all of this.
so now the Lip Service Alliance is the nonprofit. We need people like you to ring the alarm bells.
Yeah.
YOM, of course, people are going to say, yeah, of course you're saying all this stuff because you have YOM. I can't wait for, we don't call them competitors, we call them neighbors. I can't wait for them to start popping up and going, I'd like to do food grade certified, because it would make me happy to see young girls and women not put plastic on their lips.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much, we didn't even talk about the lip model and the stuff that we're building under the Lip Service Alliance so we can close this knowledge gap. But anyone who you know that wants to be involved in the Lip Service Alliance and start spreading the word, joining for regulatory change, joining for the science to close that data gap, or to work on innovation, or even young kids. We have a little section called Future Mouths, which is like any young person that wants to get involved in this and work alongside scientists and regulators and
Well, there's got to be a next generation.
You can't do anything these days without having that conversation with the younger generations. So the Lip Service Alliance is just as important to me as YOM, and YOM is that proof that we can do it.
Yeah.
Because everybody would look at me and go, yeah, it's nice, you want to take away all these ingredients, but what are we going to formulate lip with? You can do it. It's hard, but if we all band together and create change and innovation, this is going to get easier and easier, and this will be the new gold standard for lip products. That's what my dream is. But with people like you, we'll do it. We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you for being. And on that note, this is us saying, only let in what loves you back.
Definitely.
And stay lip safe and share and spread the word, because this is real and the change. It's time for change. That concludes our first ever episode of On the Record. Thank you so much for being our most stellar guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Detox, darling. Absolutely recommend following and doing a detox with you. I can't wait to do my heavy metal and
We'll get to it.
parasite detox. And please share this with anyone who you know loves lip products, and comment below who you'd want to see on the record next, asking me the tough questions. Although I kind of feel like this was synergistic and not too tough, but
It was.
it was a great conversation. So if you are an angry mom, if you are a concerned mom, if you are a brand founder, if you are anyone who wants to ask me questions, reach out in my DMs or comment below, and I look forward to talking to you and having an open conversation. Till next time.